So in this lecture, we'll talk about some of the things to think about as you're concluding your writing and also the formatting side of APA format. So this is just a reminder. I don't know who needs to hear this, but the aim of the first draft is to get it, not to get it right, but to get it written. Okay, so sometimes students struggle with making sure their first draft is absolutely perfect. I know in my experience, normally my first draft is terrible, and the revision is really where I get to high quality writing. So if you're struggling, start with just getting something down on the paper or on the computer. Get it down first, and then you can go back and plan, and we have plenty of time built into the semester to work on revisions. So once you have that first draft down, a couple of things to think about when you're revising your writing. You want to make sure your writing is focused and getting to the point. You want to make sure that your organization is good so that it makes sense and your reader can follow it. You want to make sure that you've developed your ideas and supported them. So make sure you're not making statements that you don't have evidence to back them up. That you have citations where they belong and you have that empirical evidence to support your ideas. Also think about the mechanics of writing, making sure you have topic and concluding sentences, your paper is grammatically correct, you don't have spelling errors, things like that are very easy to check. Okay. Peer review is an important revision activity, so we'll do that in class. Another great strategy is reading your paper out loud to yourself. For some reason, reading it out loud forces us to slow down and helps you catch things that you wouldn't necessarily. A reverse outline is actually a really great tool if you find you're struggling with organization. This takes a little time, but it can help you figure out if you have a clear argument and help you work through a paragraph. And what you do in a reverse outline is read a paragraph and then make an outline of how you actually laid out the argument. So you're going from the paragraph you wrote into outline form, and it will help you identify whether your paragraph and your arguments make sense. Another related strategy is listing the paragraph main idea. So make sure, read each paragraph and make sure you can identify the main idea in that paragraph. Seems obvious, but spell check in Word. Actually run the spell check. Look at those squiggly lines that we tend to ignore in Microsoft Word. This can really help you identify important aspects. Go back to the original assignments. You have a rubric for this class that lays out exactly what you need to be doing. So go back and make sure that you have addressed it. Another revision activity that I don't actually have on this list here, but is the Writing Center. And the Writing Center is an excellent free tool for you. So if you are struggling with the clarity of your arguments, with APA formatting, with spelling and grammar, these are all things that the Writing Center is an excellent resource for. Okay. Writing conclusions is another thing students struggle with, and I think that, this is just a great way to lay it out. If you can't imagine yourself dropping the mic after the final sentence of your essay, your conclusion needs to be stronger. The goal of your conclusion at the end of your paper, you're done writing it, is to make your point and make it clear and strong so that your reader walks away with the purpose that you want. So this is something that you can work on yourself, pause the video and do this yourself. I find that one of the best ways to figure out what point you want to make and what your conclusions should say is to do a free write. So time yourself, do a 5-minute free write without looking at your paper, without looking at your notes, without looking at your evidence. Do a free write about the big picture ideas of your paper. So does the evidence support your thesis? What do you want your reader to get out of the paper? Why does the topic matter? Why is this important? What are the future directions for this topic? So do a free write with these. I think that what students tend to do is they tend to reread their paper and write a very detailed summary of what they already said. And the purpose of the conclusion is to really go further with the bigger picture. Why does it matter? What are the future directions? So you've been thinking about this for months now. You should be able to do this without rereading your paper. Okay, next we're going to cover the formatting side of APA. So in terms of general manuscript structure, You have a title page. Empirical articles have an abstract and a main body. Now, again, if you have an empirical article or a research article, you'll have the introduction, method, results, and discussion. You all will have subheadings, but the subheadings will be different because it's based on the topic. And then you have a references list. Your manuscript should be Times New Roman, size 10 to 12, double spaced. The first line of every paragraph needs to be indented a ½ inch. Text should be left aligned, not centered. You should use the third person point of view. So no I, me, we, etc. And you should use the active rather than passive voice. Okay, so next you're going to need a title page. And one of the most important things on your title page, and actually the rest of it'll be on the top of the rest of your paper as well, is the running head. And the running head is a shortened version of the full title. So in the running head, you have the page numbers on your right, and then you can hit tab or do 5 spaces and the running head on your left. Your paper will also have the title, the author's name, and the affiliation. So I'm going to take you into Word and say we were going to start a new paper. The first thing we need is a title. So let's just get started with that. And our title is going to be The Effects of Sleep Deprivation on Memory Performance. Tasks, my name, my affiliation. Okay, so our title should be bold. Everything should be double spaced. Use Control-2 to double space. You want your title to generally be in the top third of your paper, of your page, but it shouldn't be at the very top. Okay, so to get to your headings, you double click up at the top of your paper and you'll see this little header line. Now the first thing we need in here is our page number. And so we can go up to the top here. We want to insert a page number at the top of the page on the right. Okay, now I've got my page number in here. And I need to do my running head. Now note that on older versions of APA, your first page had the words running head. In APA 7, which is what we're using now, you do not need the words running head. So the running header is a short version of my title, which is basically the keywords, okay? So my title is The Effects of Sleep Deprivation on Memory Performance Tasks. I'm gonna do my running head something like Sleep Deprivation, Memory Performance. Okay, now to get it, so your number should be on the right, your page number should be on the right, your running head should be on the left. I can hit tab twice, I believe is all you need. And now I've got my page number on my left, my running head on the left, the page number on the right. Another weird thing, Word doesn't make Times New Roman the automatic font. So you want to change this, and actually you can see that adjusted my page number. I want them all to be on the same line. So we're going to need to delete a tab here. Now it's in Times New Roman size 11. I've got my running head. I've got my page number. I want to make sure the text of my paper is also in Times New Roman. So we'll have to change that too. And now I should be good. I can insert a page break because I want the text of my paper to start on the next page. And now you can see that it's automatically taken my heading back to where it needs to be. So getting back to our PowerPoint, we've got all those key points on our slide. You do not need an abstract for this paper, but an abstract is a paragraph summary of the paper. It has the important information from each section of the paper. So you start with the word abstract. It starts on the second page, 150 to 250 words. You centered the title, but everything else should be left aligned, and the title of the abstract is abstract. So if you have an abstract, the first text page, the first page of text is page number 3. because you have another page break after your abstract. The title of your paper should be centered at the top of the first page of the main body. So the section that serves as the introduction of your paper, the title of that section is the title of your paper. So you will not have a section titled introduction. It's titled the same thing as the main body. Everything should be double spaced. All sections should follow each other without a page break. And you identify your sources using in-text citations. Again, never refer to an article by the full article title in the text. Don't use the author's first or middle names. Don't include the author's institution. Last names and years are what you need to identify an article. Okay, levels of headings are another thing that are really important. You need to have subheadings in a paper this long. Okay, so you need something to break up the text and to help your reader orient. So level 1 heading is the broadest. Okay, so this is going to be the most broad category. Probably one of your level 1 headings will be the title of your paper. Well, definitely, because that's the heading for your introduction. And then your second level heading is flush left, bold, and title case heading. So if you're writing an empirical paper, you would have a level 1 heading for the introduction, for the method, the results, and the discussion. Within your method section, your method might look like this, but within your method, you might have a section on participants and measures. And so participants and measures both fit in within method, and so they're level 2. Within measures, you might have subheadings for the different kinds of measures you use. Maybe you have one measure of shyness, one measure of friendship. If those fit into measures, then those would be a level 3 heading. Okay, so this is an example of this. We've got the method, sample fits under method, so it's level 2. Instrument fits under method, so it's level 2 as well. A couple other tips and tricks. The rule in general, you use words to express number below 10. So if you're saying something like children participated in 5 trials, since it's 5, you write out the number 5. If it was 15, you would write out the number 15. You use figures to express numbers 10 or above. A total of 75 children participated in the experiment. The exceptions, numbers representing ages should always be in figures, even if they're less than 10. And a number that begins a sentence, a title, or text heading should always be in words. So if you're saying the sentence 75 children participated in the study, since it's the beginning of the sentence, you need to use the word 75 instead of the number, especially if it's a big number. If you had 275, it gets kind of lengthy. So it's better to rephrase the sentence so you're just not starting the sentence with a number. I've got examples of a couple other manuscripts and how to cite each references. Purdue OWL is a great resource, as is apastyle.org. And then there are other examples on Moodle.